Today we're doing a deep dive into a single moment that completely changed how we experience reality. We're talking about the shift from approximate time to exact time.
It's a fascinating story. We'll be looking at the technical leap itself, what problems it solved, and how it really reshaped society from the ground up.
And the story, according to the sources, starts in a pretty dramatic place. We're in a cathedral in Pisa. The year is 1583.
Right. And a young Galileo Galilei, he's just 19, is watching a lamp swing back and forth.
And he's timing it with his own pulse.
Yeah, exactly. And he notices what he thinks is isochronism. The idea that every swing, whether it's a huge wide arc or just a tiny little one, takes the exact same amount of time to complete.
But the key thing the notes point out is that Galileo had the idea, but, well, he never actually built a working clock from it.
No, he couldn't get the mechanics right. That breakthrough didn't happen until Christmas Day, 1656. A Dutch scientist, Christiaan Huygens, is the one who finally figures it out.
And that gap is huge because before Huygens, mechanical clocks were incredibly unreliable.
Oh, completely. You're looking at a drift of about 15 minutes every single day.
Which makes something like almost a meaningless concept. But Huygens' invention wasn't just a small improvement.
No, it was a revolution. He took that error from 15 minutes down to just 15 seconds a day.
That's a 60 times improvement. Just instantly.
It changed everything. But it wasn't as simple as just hanging a pendulum. See, Huygens found a problem with Galileo's original observation.
So isochronism wasn't quite true.
Not for a simple pendulum, no. It turns out that a wider swing actually takes a tiny bit longer than a narrow one. It's called circular error.
And so if the clock's mechanism gives the pendulum a bigger push one day...
The clock runs slow, exactly. The whole system is unstable.
So how did he solve it? This is where it gets really clever, I think.
This is the genius part. He engineered a solution he called cycloid cheeks.
So he installs these two small curved metal plates right at the pivot point.
Right. And as the pendulum swings wide out to the very edge of its arc, the string actually presses against these curved cheeks.
Okay, so it wraps around the curve a little bit.
And that action effectively shortens the pendulum's length for just that fraction of a second.
Which speeds it up just enough to make up for the extra distance of the wide swing. That's incredible.
It creates perfect tautochronism. Every swing takes the exact same time, no matter the width. The precision was just obsessive. He calculated the perfect length to be a 0.994 meters for a 2-second period.
And he needed that precision for a reason. This wasn't just about being on time for dinner. Science was hitting a wall.
A huge wall. Astronomy, navigation. You can't map the stars or know where you are at sea if your timekeeping is sloppy. Huygens needed this for his own telescope work.
It paid off for him, right?
Absolutely. He used the clock to discover Saturn's moon, Titan, and to finally understand that Saturn had rings, but the real prize, the Holy Grail, was trying to solve for longitude FC.
The biggest challenge of the 17th century. If you know the exact time back in London and the local time on your ship, you can calculate how far east or west you are.
He tried. He built special clocks for ships, but the ocean is just too chaotic. The humidity, the rocking of the ship, it threw the pendulum off.
So he never quite got there for sea travel. That was John Harrison's achievement much later.
Right, but on land, Huygens had already won. And that victory is what completely reorganized how we live.
This is the part that I found so surprising. Before Huygens, most clocks didn't even have minute hands.
What was the point? If your clock is off by 10 or 15 minutes a day, a minute hand is just useless clutter.
But with his accuracy, suddenly the minute hand becomes standard. And then eventually, the second hand appears.
And that's the moment we shift from natural time, sunrise, sunset, the seasons, to managed time.
It's what allows the scientific revolution to happen. You can't have Isaac Newton figuring out the laws of gravity if you can't measure time accurately.
Exactly. Or Ole Rummer measuring the speed of light. Those discoveries depend on being able to slice time into tiny, reliable pieces. It turns time into a commodity.
Something you can measure, and therefore something you can manage and optimize. It really sets the stage for the Industrial Revolution, for factory schedules, for the modern world.
It really does. Huygens essentially gave us a microscope for time.
Before we go, there's one last little anecdote from the sources that's it's a bit mind-bending.
The synchronization.
Yes. He noticed that if he mounted two of his pendulum clocks on the same wooden beam,
they would eventually start swinging in perfect opposite rhythm. They would synchronize themselves.
The tiny vibrations through the wood were enough to force them into a kind of harmony.
A shared state of energy. It's wild.
It just makes you wonder, If two simple machines can find a shared rhythm through an unseen physical connection, what does that say about the natural laws governing our own, much more chaotic lives?
A very provocative thought to end on.
A lot to think about. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.